Hi everyone, so Waleed here again, and we just wrote our first program in Java as the name of our class is being put in appropriately as well. So we just saw how does the skeleton of a bare bones Java class file look like, right? And as I said, you're going to have a look at that, or you're going to phase this or put it that is a class and a main method inside every Java file that you're going to write. All right. So now we even went ahead and printed out a statement on the console. All right. Now let me just quickly make a shortcut here for running this quickly so that we don't have to go on and right click, then say run as Java application. See, if I do that, it would be executed and you'll see the output on the console. So now I can even make a shortcut, and a way to do that is you hit Control Shift L twice in Eclipse, right? And then just search for run in the filter. So just scroll down and we'll find the command that is run somewhere down here. Just a sec. Yeah, run Java application. And the current binding is set to this particular binding. I want to keep it short. I personally like it to be Control R. You can keep it to your own. Just hit in the binding Control R and then say apply and close. So the next time you're going to run it, you just hit that binding that is Control R, and you're seeing it runs fine, guys. Now just move on and let's just put in another println statement here. I'll just copy paste this line for you, and I'm just saying on the next line. And unlike C and C++, where you had to put in an escape character, the println method in Java, which is short for print line, has a /n bundled with it. So in fact, yes, you're going to see that on the next line. See, I'll hit save and run this. This is what we get. This in fact comes on the next line for you. So if you wanted that kind of a behavior, that is both of them on the same line, so there is another function in system.out, and that is print. See, now I save this, I'll see similar output to what I saw with printf and C out in C and C++, guys, right? So then you have the escape sequences, escape characters here as well. Let's say you want to put it yourself. I'll say /n, which stands for carriage return plus next line. So I'll hit save and run. See, works the same way. And there's another one that is /t, which leaves a few spaces. There is /r as well, which is just for carriage return, right? You would use that rarely, but sometimes it comes as a handful. What it does is on the same line, you're going to see the next piece of output. See, and that is why I said you're going to use that rarely. See, we're just getting started with Java. And when you run it on the terminal, you're going to see that working, that is /r, not here, right? So, but it just prints it on the same line. So that is, these are just a few of the escape characters we have with Java. We have many more, so you can just maybe explore them whenever you get the time to. So that is talking about a bare bones Java program that we can just run. And now moving on, let's talk about variables, guys. Let me just in fact create a new class here. I'll quickly say a class, and then I'll have the package. We should never use the default package. That is not recommended. You should always have it on your own. So I can just put it, I can say com.waleed.training, right? You can keep it to your own. You can even call it com.abc, com.nidhi. But I think what makes sense is always recommended. That is com.waleed.training. That's my package name. And then you can name the class. I can call it variables work. Anything that makes sense. And we need the main method as well. So I'll just select that option here and hit finish. And you see that Eclipse has created a new file for me inside this package, and also put in the packaged declaration here. More about packages later on. So, but for now, just understand that packages help us to write organized code, right? These are like folders behind the scenes. So all of the code that I'm writing goes into this particular folder. So I'll just drag and drop this also to this package, right? So that we have organized code for all our classes. See, Now both of the class files are in the package that is com.walid.training. So I have the main method, guys. And how do you declare a variable in Java? Now understanding variables goes a long way in you having a good hold over a particular language. And because we use variables every single day as a developer, I'll say every other moment as a developer, right? So variable, because it's a C style language, that is Java, and in the year 2021, with the advent of languages like PHP and Python, you'll see a lot of memes on the internet though that are laughing on Java developers. That is the harsh truth here, right? Why? Because Java is a strictly typed language, and on the other hand, a language like Python is not. It's, you can just play around with Python like a naughty girl or boy out there, right? But I strongly believe if you come from a strictly typed language such as C or Java and then shift to Python or PHP, you're going to find it so much easier, the transition. But the other way around might not be the case, might not be that case. That is, if you're coming from a loosely typed language like PHP or Python into a strictly typed language like C++ or Java, it obviously would look a lot difficult, right? So that is why I personally like the strictly typed languages, right? And Java is just one of them, guys. So how do you use a variable in Java? It's a two-step process. The first step is declaring a variable. And what is the syntax of declaring a new variable in Java? I'll put in an appropriate comment for you, declaration. So it goes like this: type, and then identifier, and then assignment operator, and then the value, right? So, or just for declaration, you need just this: type and then identifiers. Now, what is a type here, right? A type can be a data type, it can be a class type, it can be an interface type later on. But for now, it can be a primitive data type. So we'll come back to declaration of a variable, but for now, we need to understand what are the types, data types in Java, the primitive data types. I'll just list them down for you here. The data types in Java, in the sequence of their hierarchy, are like this. So Boolean, which takes 1 byte of memory and stores true and false as the values. Okay. So then we have byte, which is used for integer input output and takes 1 byte of memory. We have short, again for integer input output, takes 2 bytes of memory. Then we have char, short for character, which is a 2 byte character data type in Java. It's used for storing characters. And then we have int. If you have a slightly longer or a larger number, you store it in an int data type, and generally we use the int data type in Java. It takes 4 bytes of memory. Then we have long. If you have a larger number than int, then you can use long for integer input output. That means byte, short, int and long are all used for integer input output. Then you have float and double for precision decimal numbers, guys, right? So in the sequence of their hierarchy, I have listed down the 8 primitive data types in Java for you, right? Boolean, byte, short, char, int, long, float, and double. And depending on your requirement, you would use any one of them, right? Any one of these. So for example, and like the language itself, that is Java, the data types in Java are also platform independent. That is, on a 16-bit processor or machine, or on a, for example, on a 32-bit processor machine, so the int would be the same. It would hold the same storage everywhere. That's why these are platform independent as well. And considering this syntax, now we can declare our variables, right? We can say, following this syntax, let's say I want to use a character variable. I can say char, call it var, and then that is it. Then the second step is initialization, right? And we do it like identifier, assignment operator, the value. The assignment operator has been programmed that way that the right hand side is always assigned to the left hand side, right? So following this syntax, now my identifier is var. I can say var assignment operator, let's say it's a character, goes into single quotes, then you put in the value t, for example, right? That's how you use it, guys. Declaration and initialization. So the rule in Java is a variable in Java cannot be used without declaration. So first you have to declare a variable and then you can use it. Only then you can use it. See, otherwise, if you comment it out, this is an error. And with an IDE like Eclipse, it's a great IDE, it's a great tool. You get the errors even without compiling. You hover on this, Eclipse, your good friend, tells you what is wrong on line number 13. See, it tells you where cannot be resolved to a variable. It tells you, my friend, I cannot understand which where you're talking about because I haven't declared it. See, I uncomment this and this here becomes good again. That is, now it understands I'm talking about a var which is of type char and I'm putting in the value, guys. And for your reference, you can even combine these two lines, right? Let me just get rid of this so that to keep the code cleaner for you. So I can say char var declaration and initialization on the same line. We can do that as well in Java. Let's say I want to put in a value r, right? And you have a warning here, yellow, in yellow underline, it says the value of local variable var is not used. But I tell the compiler, don't worry, thanks for your warning. I'm going to use it in a few moments from now, right? But that is how you use declaration and initialization on the same line. So let's say you want to declare byte variables, you can do that. I can say, or integer variables, for example, I can say int value, declaration and initialization on the same line. And you can also declare more than one variables at the same time as well, guys. That is, you can say another var and then, for example, a value, right? And then when you want to print it out, you can just do that as well. I can say a system.out.println, sysout is the shortcut for that. And then I can say value of var is, I can concatenate it. And now, how do you concatenate? With the plus operator. Now, operator overloading was a great concept in C++, make no doubts about that. So Java thought about it, the designers of Java thought about it and thought about that more often than not, we end up writing complex, sophisticated code. So in Java, the practice was stopped. You cannot do operator overloading in Java, but one of the operators is overloaded natively by default, and that is plus. Sometimes it does the addition, and at other times it does the concatenation, and it is intelligent enough to know when to do what. And that is, you just have to remember one rule, that is, if the left hand side, that is with the plus operator, if both operands on the left and the right are numbers, it's always going to add. And if the operands, even if one of the operands is of type string, that is a double quote pair, so it's always going to concatenate. And here it will just concatenate. See, I'll save this and run this. I should get the output r. See, value of var is r. In fact, we printed that out, guys, right, using the concatenation operator. So I'm just declaring and initializing variables here, right? So I hope you were able to understand how do variables work in Java, that is declaration and initialization. More about variables in the next video.